Hello everyone, good morning. Today we are going to continue doing our business in translation 1 summer 2020. We are going to have a simple, easy-going meal today, which is the translation of proper names, titles, political establishments, geographical terms, and UN acronyms. We are going to start with proper names. This is a very simple topic in translation, but the consequences of ignorance of how to deal with it sometimes are grave. So we need, as translators, to know from beginning the importance of understanding the dynamics and the mechanisms of dealing with proper names. Professor Hassan Ghazala, in his book Translation as Problems and Solutions, in page 172, which we are going to use, says that the translation of proper names is not a straightforward process. It is not a straightforward process. You might think that George is a proper name, yes, and it is translated into George. You are right. Khalid is translated into English as Khalid, okay? But there are nuances, there are other categories of names that need discussion and articulation. Some people might think that it is simple, but it is not, as he said, because they pose more than one problem which need satisfactory solutions. There are three main procedures for translating proper names. And these procedures, the same as we learned when we talked about Arabization. We talk here about transcription, naturalization, and translation. But we will see how we deal with the third, okay? Transcription. When we say transcription, we mean to put the name as it is in the source language in the target language. And it is the rule in conveying English proper names. They are usually transcribed in Arabic letters. Amanda becomes Amanda. Kim becomes Kim. Ka, ya, mim. The main reason for this is to show a sign of respect for the names of persons which are purely cultural. It is not only the respect. The proper name is the signifier of the identity of the person you are dealing with. You cannot say anything else rather than the name that was given to the person by his parents, okay? It's a label, it is the milestone, it is the signpost that signifies this entity, this human being, or any other proper name. This is the case at translating any proper name into any other language. You know, proper name is Asma al-Alam, yeah? Therefore, transcription here is not shameful, but rather respectful, he says. Bill يترجم إلى Bill. Lucy, Lucy. Charles, Charles. Clive, Clive. Derek, Derek. Pauline, Pauline. Quirk, Quirk. Robin, Robin. Sally, Sally, etc. And the list goes on. Henry, Henry. Shakespeare, Shakespeare. Okay? Johnson, Johnson. There seems no problem here apart from the alphabetical letters G, P, and CH. G, P, and CH are sounds that do not exactly exist in Arabic. G can be jim or ghain. P can be B. We don't have the explosive P in Arabic. P for pen, for Peter, okay? And we don't have the cha sound, which have no equivalents in Arabic alphabet. The general rule for transcribing these and other letters and sounds in Arabic is as follows. G, it is either transcribed as jim or ghain, or even some people would use kaf. This is imposed by habit or by the phonetic combination of letters. Somebody is known by green, either green or green. وتقرأ green زي Greenland. Okay? England is Ingilterra. لكن في العراق بكتبوها إنكلترا بالكاف. Okay? Sometimes the jim, the ja sound, if it might occur in two places in the one word, and transcribed once as jim and once as ghain, as in geography. Geographia. The first ja is translated into jim. The second ja is translated into geographia. كان بالإمكان نقول geographia. لا, it has to do with the music now. Okay? The pa sound is usually transcribed in ba. The va sound, v, into fa. The cha into cha or sha. Okay, like Charles, like ch in Charles. Now the A and S and T may occasionally be transcribed in few names as Ain, Sad, and Ta, respectively. The A can stand for Ain, yeah? Ala, 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 Ala. Okay? Aida, Aida. Samuel, Samuel. لكن ساندرا بالسين ساندرا. توني بعض الناس بترجموا توني وبعض الناس بترجموا توني. زي تي في بريطن بريطانيا. And I know a friend who insists not to give the ta sound for the ta sound for what is known linguistic nationalism reasons. He doesn't believe that the ta sound in Britain deserves to be given the ta sound, which is like a prestigious sound in Arabic that is not given to the ta, which is not deserved. A slight problem could be raised by the transcription of two kinds of names. These are the names with unpronounced letters could be transcribed wrongly and literally by the students, like Lincoln in Abraham Lincoln. Lincoln is with the L. In Arabic, either you use Lincoln or Lincoln, but it is famous now in Arabic that it is Lincoln with the lam, okay? He says, usually the first American president's name, Abraham Lincoln, is transcribed as wrongly. He says wrongly as Lincoln, but it is the acceptable version because of its all the standardization and the frequency in Arabic. So now, when we talk about acceptability, sometimes the acceptable form of a translation is more valid in life of language than the correct form. So you have to be careful. And the second one, which can pose a problem, is that diminutive names, which are known asma' al-dala'. They are transcribed as full normal names, which is not the case. It is diminutive in English, it must be diminutive in Arabic. Okay? D, for Diana, it must be D, not Diana. Fergie for Ferguson, it must be Fergie, not Ferguson. Maggie for Margaret, it must be Maggie, not Margaret. Okay? So this is transcription. The second strategy to translate proper names is naturalization, transcription or naturalization. Here we talk about English and Arabic share certain names in religion and history only. Therefore, the English names are naturalized when they refer to the same person, especially the prophets and the Virgin Mary's names. Aaron is known in Arabic, in religious Arabic, as Harun. Abraham, Ibrahim. David, Dawood. Ishaq, Ishaq. Ishmael, Ismail. Jacob, Yaqub. Jesus, Isa. Job, Ayub. John, Yahya أو يوحنا. Jonah, Yunus. Joseph, Yusuf أو يوسف. Luke, Luca. The Virgin Mary, مريم العذراء. Michael, Mikael أو ميكال أو ميخائيل. Moses, موسى. Noah, نوح. Paul, بولس أو بولس. Peter, بطرس. Solomon, سليمان. It is good to draw your attention to the fact that these names are originally Oriental names that were transferred into European languages, including English. So they were Arabic before they became English or before they became French. So the original here is Arabic. So there is an agreement that in religious terms, Aaron in English is known in Arabic as Harun, and so on and so forth. But if somebody else, not Harun the prophet, is named Aaron or Abraham or David or Ishaq or Ishmael, you cannot call them Harun, Ibrahim, Dawood, Ishaq. No. They must be Aaron, Abraham, David, Isaac, Ishmael, Jacob. You cannot translate a name of your friend whose name is Jacob into Yaqub. No. You should say Jacob. Jesus, because Jesus, Isa, is the prophet. Okay? Not anybody else. Okay? Now, the last strategy is naturalization. So the first one is transcription, the second one is transcription and naturalization, the third one is naturalization. Apologies, not translation. I thought that it's translation. Names of famous poets, scientists, philosophers, leaders, and mythological heroes in history are naturalized. Alexander becomes Al-Iskandar. Archimedes becomes Archimedes. Aristophanes becomes Aristophan. Aristotle, Aristo. I would like to ask a question. Aristophanes, why Aristophan, not Aristophan? While Aristotle, the T sound in Aristotle becomes Aristo. Yeah, you can think. Aeschylus, Aeschylus. Heracles, Heracle. Why Heracles? Why the K sound is Q here? Qaf. Plato, Aflaton. Where did we bring the Fa and the Hamza? Why we didn't say Plato or Plato or... It has to do with the journey of the name through time and space. Pythagoras, a scientist. Pythagoras. Samson, Shamshun. Socrates, Socrat. You can see the ta is transferred into the ta. Homer, Homeros. Why Homer, Homeros, not Homer? It is simply because the relationship between Greek and Arabic is older than the relationship between English and Arabic, or English and Greek. So he might be known in Greek as Homeros, from which Arabic took the pronunciation, and this applies to Plato, Aflaton. Okay? On the front of Arabic, there are famous names in English which were originally naturalized from Arabic. Therefore, students should not mistake them for English names. The most famous of these is ابن زور, اللي هو احنا بنقول عنه بالعربي ابن زهر, طبيب. Avicenna, ابن سينا. Okay? Avimpes, ابن باجة. Averroes, ابن رشد. Saladin, صلاح الدين الأيوبي. Conclusion. Names are mostly transcribed exceptionally naturalized, but never translated into Arabic. So you don't translate proper names. When students are unable to pronounce a name properly, they will transcribe it wrongly. But this is not a serious mistake anyway. On the other hand, if a famous name is transcribed wrongly but has become standard, Lincoln, for example, is transcribed as Lincoln, not as Lincoln. Lincoln without the lam. We can retain it as such because another transcription might seem a different name to some people. Before we go to titles, let me put this note for you in Arabic. دور النشر لما تطلب منك الترجم إلها في الغالب حتعطيك دليل يدوي أو مانيوال إرشادي, دليل إرشادي. الدليل الإرشادي هذا بقول لك هم كيف بتعاملوا مع الأسماء على منهج موحد. يعني كيف تكتب ديفيد, كيف تتعامل مع جايكوب, كيف تتعامل مع الأسماء المشهورة وهكذا. هل هم بفضله يكتبوا هومر ولا هوميروس؟ طبعا لازم تعرف إنه في العربي في المشرق العربي وفي العربي في المغرب العربي، وهذا له مؤسسات. طبعا في العربية في العراق العربية، لكن الفروق مش قوية. فبدك أنت تكون منتبه لأول حاجة التارجت ريدرشيب، الناس اللي بدهم يقرأوك. ثاني حاجة وقبلها طبعا للرولز المتبعة، القواعد المتبعة في دار النشر أو المنفذ الإعلامي أو المؤسسة اللي أنت بتترجم لها. الحمد لله. Excuse me. Titles الآن مش العناوين. We talk about titles. We talk about الألقاب. they can pose problems in translation, and the solution is available and not so difficult to grasp. The most important thing is to know that there is a rule to translate these titles. And the solution can be sought for through three main procedures. The same: transcription, naturalization, or translation. Here the difference is in translation. Transcription is used when there are cultural titles which have no equivalents in Arabic, such as Marquess, Marquise, Earl, Viscount, Viscount or Viscount. هيك تترجم بالعربية، يعني تنقل نقلا كاملا لفظا وصوتا. بارون، بارون. سير، سير. السير لقب طبعا. لورد اللي هو اللورد. دكتور، دكتور. بروفيسور، بروفيسور. Most of these titles, except doctor and professor, are derived from the aristocratic class in English tradition and culture. Since there is no such thing in Arabic culture, we had better transcribe them not simply as a sign of respect, but to bear no responsibility for translating them into Arabic and make them look as part of its culture. Yeah, you have to be neutral about these titles. And today they are famous. Everybody knows Marquess, Earl, Viscount, Baron, Sir, Lord, Doctor, Professor. Having said that, the problem of understanding some uncommon titles, like Earl and Viscount, remains to be solved. The solution can be to explain in general terms what such titles means between two brackets. يعني لما أنت تذكر إيرل بإمكانك تحط بين قوسين مثلا إيرل لقب أرستقراطي رفيع، أو في فوت نوت في الهامش تكتب إيرل هو لقب أرستقراطي وهو فوق كذا وتحت كذا. Okay. Professor Ghazala suggests another solution, which is Lord for all, on the ground that Lord is known in Arabic. Yeah, I don't agree with this. Where's the enriching of the source language if we translate all these into Lord? Okay? And where is the significance of the social stratification that takes place in English cultural tradition? It is totally sacrificed if you opt for Lord for all of these. The same way when you translate all types of birds into Asfur in Arabic, signifying or indicating that only that the culture has Asfur, only Asfur, not other types or species of the many hundred species or thousand species of birds. The second procedure is naturalization. Some titles are naturalized in Arabic, such as Duke, translated into Doq, Duchess into Doqa. The naturalization of the first title is only alphabetical. The Ka becomes Qa, whereas the second is both alphabetical as grammatical. Doqa, Duchess, is the feminine form of Doq. Such naturalized titles are quite rare because of the cultural differences between the two languages. Therefore, there is no serious problem here. Some titles are translated. This is the third procedure, translation. Mr. becomes Sayyid, Miss becomes Anisa, Mrs. becomes Sayyida, Lady, Sayyida أو Lady, Madame. Madame is French. Sayyida أو زوجة, Prince, Amir, Princess, Amira, Knight, Faris. Okay? Now there is this Ms. It can be translated as Anisa or Sayyida, or you can opt for Anisa alone. Okay? Some people would say princess and prince and princess إلى prince وبرنسيسة, but this is awkward. It is unstable in Arabic. There are formal titles for leaders, diplomats, politicians, judges, and lords. All these are translated precisely as follows. They are agreed upon translation. Okay? You cannot maneuver when you translate His or Her Majesty the King or the Queen. His Majesty the King, Her Majesty the Queen. جلالة الملك, جلالة الملكة. His Excellency the President, فخامة أو سيادة رئيس الجمهورية. His Excellency the Ambassador, سعادة أو دولة أو سيادة أو معالي السفير. His Excellency the High Commissioner, معالي المفوض العام, الباب العالي. His Royal Highness the Prince, سمو الأمير, صاحب السمو الملكي الأمير. The Right Honorable, معالي سعادة سيادة دولة سعادة الباشا. It is good to note that excellency is once translated into فخامة مع الرئيس, وسعادة ودولة وسيادة مع السفير, ومعالي مع الباب العالي High Commissioner. High Commissioner برضو بترجموها بالمندوب السامي. المندوب السامي اللي في فلسطين كان أيام الانتداب البريطاني بيسموه High Commissioner. لاحظ هاي كيف تترجم لسامي, ولاحظ هاينس اللي هي ارتفاع بيسموها سمو. This is the importance of synonymy in Arabic. المترجم الأول اللي ترجم هاينس إلى سمو كان بفهم إيش معنى مترادفات بالعربية, واختار المرادف الأفضل والأوقع في النفس لهاينس. أوكي. The Prime Minister, رئيس الوزراء. Prime معناها أساسي, لكن هنا بنسميه رئيس الوزراء. وفي تونس بيسموه الوزير الأول Prime, والوزير الأول ربما تكون أدق, والرئيس الوزراء دقيقة جدا وممتازة جدا لأنه هو بيرأس مجلس الوزراء, بس Prime أساسي يعني. The Mayor بترجمها هنا المحافظ أو الوالي. إحنا في غزة بنترجم المير لعمدة, أو العمدة لمير, أو رئيس البلدية مير بنسميه. المحافظ أقرب إلى governor, لكن برضو governor في أمريكا هو حاكم الولاية. هنا تلعب الجغرافيا دور في الترجمة, بدك تكون منتبه للتسميات حسب الجغرافيا. أوكي. The Minister, الوزير. مثلا في بريطانيا الوزير مش منستر, في بريطانيا الوزير سكرتري, والمنستر وكيل الوزارة, حاجة زي وكيل الوزارة, رتبة في الوزارة بس مش الوزير المنستر. في أمريكا فيش منستر, يعني وزير الخارجية في أمريكا برضو سكرتري اوف ستيت. بدك تكون منتبه للتسميات هذه. وزارة الخارجية في أمريكا اسمها ستيت ديبارتمنت, وزارة الخارجية اسمها هيك ستيت ديبارتمنت. بدك تكون منتبه للاصطلاح وإيش كل دولة بتسمي اسمها. أظن أمريكا وجنوب أفريقيا وبريطانيا بتشابهوا. في ألمانيا الرأس الحكومة التنفيذية تشانسلر, اللي احنا بنقول عنه المستشار, وكان بالإمكان نسميه رئيس الوزراء. أنجيلا ميركل رئيسة وزراء هي في الحقيقة, لكن برضو بنسميها المستشارة. إيرل بنسميه الإيرل, فيسكاونت الفيكاونت, ذا بارون البارون, ذا تشانسلر المستشار. قاضي القضاة في إنجلترا the Chief Justice of England. ماشي. قاضي الاستئناف the Justice of Appeal. عضو البرلمان a Member of Parliament. The Most Honorable the Marquis, معالي دولة الباشا, صاحب العزة الماركيز, ده صاحب العزة معالي. His Grace, سعادة دولة الباشا. You can see the confusion, honorable, grace, etc., etc. The speaker of parliament, the speaker المتحدث, but here it is رئيس البرلمان. Okay. Judges of high courts, قضاة المحاكم العليا. His honor حضرة سيادة. Circuit judges القضاة الجوالين. Sir والنايت هذول بنسميهم الفارس والسيد أو السير. بيجي عنا Christian religious titles. His Holiness the Pope, قداسة البابا أو الحبر الأعظم. The Most Reverend the Archbishop, قداسة رئيس الأساقفة. The Most Reverend the Patriarch, غبطة البطريرك أو البطرك بالعربي. The Most Reverend His Eminence the Metropolitan, نيافة المطران. وبعض الأحيان احنا بنقول نيافة البابا instead of قداسة البابا. لكن لاختلاف المدارس والكنائس في الشرق وفي الغرب في أيضا اختلاف في التسميات والألقاب. Okay. The Right Reverend the Bishop the Abbot, نيافة الأسقف رئيس الدير. The Very Reverend the Dean the Vicar, الأب عميد الكنيسة القس. The Venerable the Archdeacon, الأستاذ السيد رئيس الشمامسة. The Reverend the Canon the Minister, الأب الكاهن. All these and other religious names are known in English and Arabic, and in order to avoid any problems translating them into Arabic or English, you need to look into a specialized dictionary or consult an expert. You need to do your own reading too in the literature in which or to which you are translating. Bye bye for now. See you.